twist it, hit it, smoke it till we stupid, twist it, hit it, smoke it till we stupid, twist it, hit it, smoke it till we stupid, smoke a
You are now listening to a Power Requires Hustle production. What up, world? This is King Kold the Rapper, and I'm hanging out in the Rabbit Hole studio. My guest of the evening is none other than the new Focus Wrestling Heavyweight Champion of the world, baby. This is Scotty Wolf. Say hello, Scotty Wolf.
What's going on, YouTube peeps?
Yeah, man, I'm super happy to have you on the show. We've been talking about this literally for a couple years, but people stay busy and shit gets moved around. But it just so happens that on this beautiful day of rest, we're able to findangle some time to have a conversation about you, your career, how it feels to be a world champion during coronavirus. Just all of the various misadventures that it is to be a professional wrestler in the world. We'll start off by asking you where you broke in, when you broke in, who trained you, all of that spaz.
I'm going back in that time machine, 'cause it goes way back, 'cause I can't say I'm older than dirt, but I was definitely around when they started making it. Anyhow, it goes all the way back. I've over the course, this will actually be my June will be 20th year I've been in and out of wrestling over the course of my career. When I first started, I had over the course of a year, I had 3 different trainers. The first one was which a lot of people probably don't remember this guy unless you were a huge USWA fan, but they were the tag team called the War Machines, and War Machine number 2 was a guy named John Faulkner. John just happened to be the same guy who lived in town, and the amazing part being I grew up in a town that didn't have 2,500 people in it. The fact I ran across this guy and he was putting shows on and stuff, I had to get involved with it. One of the guys he was training came up to me one day in a bar. He goes, "Dude, you're freaking nuts, man. Why don't you come train with us?" And it was as simple as that. So I started training with John till John ended up in a car accident, boogered his face up, and ended up having his gallbladder taken out. Just a whole bunch of stuff just fell apart. About a month or 2 later, I jumped in, and I moved down to the Coliseum after trying a few places here or there. I worked with Bud Chaplin for a couple training sessions. It just didn't work out there. He was a great guy, it just didn't work. But I ended up down to Coliseum, and the majority of my training came from a guy named Chris Champion, which most people remember him on WCW as Yoshi Kwan.
Oh, yeah.
He also had a stellar tag team with the New Breed, and Chris had been, God rest his soul, he'd been all over the place. He was a phenomenal guy, he was a phenomenal wrestler, and he was a phenomenal trainer. I loved the man to death. Worked with him for quite a while. He ended up having a stroke, which just kind of bad breaks with everything. I was on the verge of wrapping up my training with him, and he had the stroke. He was taken off, and a guy named Mitch Ryder come in, which Marvelous Mitch, a lot of people probably remember him off WCW, Shikara Wrestling, whatnot. Mitch was a little unorthodox. He was a little gravelly voiced, and he had his issues, but all in all, Mitch was a decent guy. At the time Mitch came in, training with him was Chris Hero, a guy named Mark Wolf. Down at the Coliseum, we had guys coming in, Necro Butcher, Too Tough Tony, J.C. Bailey, God rest his soul, Simon Says, just a who's who of independent wrestlers of the area at the time, and I had the grandness of being able to train with these guys and work with all these guys, and Mitch gave me this great opportunity. Granted, me and Chris Hero did not get along, nor did me and Mark Wolf. They hated me for some reason. I still to this day don't know why. But Chris tried to beat me up, and I kind of laughed at him. And I left wrestling for a little while, came back a short time after that. I'd been out of it for about 3 or 4 years, and a lot of people, a lot of fans don't know, but in those 3 or 4 years, I had gotten married, divorced, had got remarried, and the first year of my second marriage, had a daughter. She was born premature, and she only lived 9 months and died.
That's so sad.
And it ate me up inside. I'd seen so much stuff in the 9 months in and out of ice in the NICUs that my brain went full PTSD. I'd seen 6, 7 kids die, and it affected me. I had to get back into something.
Yeah.
And just happened to be New Focus Wrestling had just started back up. A guy I trained with, Johnny Richards. He was promoter. Him, T-Bolt Baxton, and a few other guys here and there all jumped in. I went down. Seems the first time I had not been in a ring in almost 4 years. Walked in, seen him. He's like, "Where have you been? Grab your gear." Which at that time my gear was almost non-existent because I thought I was going to give everything up until I walked in and I'd seen everybody, and then snap, I'm back in it.
That's how it works too. That's
it's an addiction. Professional wrestling is a full-blown addiction.
Yeah, you can't just like go back and say hi and briefly dabble. It doesn't work like that. It gets under your skin, into your bloodstream, and then into your soul again, and then you're like, and you know, it just it has this effect on people that you know, normal folks just don't understand, you know. But anyways, so you break into the business, and then you leave briefly, and then you come back. So now you're working with New Focus Wrestling and Johnny Richards. At that point, you first coming back, you were an independent wrestler, like, you know, a singles wrestler, yes?
Yes. I came back. Of course, I had attitude almost just on the phase of falling out of the attitude area. I come back in. Here I am. I got a singlet. I got a pair of camo pants. I got a pair of wrestling boots. That's all I got, gear-wise. I stepped into it. I started working with John again, which I'm still currently working with New Focus Wrestling. They've been in business over 10 years now.
That's tremendous.
Well over, actually, I think we're probably closer to 14 years, to be honest with you.
You are, because the original building you guys were running was the C.K. Newsom Center.
Yes, it was the C.K. Newsom Center.
Yeah, and that was the first event I ever did with Johnny. And then for some reason, like, I left for, I don't know, like 2-3 years or something, and then went back and got trained in and did it correctly, and, you know, did stuff right, you know.
You tried to do it correctly.
Oh, well, whatever. I did.
I'm gonna tell a story on you. I'm gonna tell a story on you because most of your fans probably don't know that I tried to break you into wrestling. I tried to train you the right way. We had a building there in Evansville that we were doing training sessions, and I took you in, and I was trying to teach you basic stuff. And in the process, if I remember right, I was trying to teach you how to do, if it was a hip toss or an arm drag. I'm sitting here, I'm drawing a blank on which one it was.
It was an arm drag, and I sold it as a hip toss.
Yeah. Okay, there's a confusion got cleared away. Anyhow,
that's what happened.
To tell the fans what ensued after this, because I tried to explain to him how to do this move, and it went south. And when my buddy King Kold here, Johnny Whiplash, or whatever name you want to give him at the time, took the fall, he hit his shoulder, went shoulder first into the fall, and totally screwed his whole upper body up.
Oh, bruh, let me tell you something.
I mean, it sounded like somebody had jumped on a box of Frosted Flakes. You just heard crunch all over the place.
And that shit was not great, bruh.
God, no! I cringed because I knew I was. You landed on top of me and rolled over, and I knew by the way you landed and the crunch that I heard that it hurt, and I felt it in my soul.
Oh, I still feel it in my soul every day. Don't worry.
And I had to drag you out of the ring and take you to the hospital, and your wife was so mad at both of us.
Yeah. Yeah, she was though. She
She was
was.
pissed at
That
us.
that was a bad day, all
Yeah, it
things
was.
considered.
It was
But
that was a crappy day.
what you were trying to teach me was we were going through arm drags, and we were doing arm drag, or like hip toss, and then arm drag, or some combination like that. And man, I saw. Motherfucker sold the arm drag as a hip toss, and it just destroyed me. Literally, I tore my shoulder out of place. I tore my pectoral muscle so that it was hanging. Everything was green and purple. I looked like a fucking zombie creature. It was it was super gnarly pain. And I remember I popped my shoulder back in place, which I probably shouldn't have done that, but I didn't have a choice.
You almost did it on accident. It kind of just almost fell back in on its own.
Man, it was bad. But when you were like, that'll never heal correctly and be the same, you were 100% right. Because, dude, now I almost favor my left side, and I've been a righty my entire life. But now I almost totally favor my left side. Aside from the riding aspect, I'm not ambidextrous, but everything else, man, I've really adjusted to the left side because the right shoulder is just it's not shot, but man, it can hurt on a bad fucking day for sure.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, look,
I'll tell you a story real quick since we're talking about shoulder injuries. I'll just give you a quick rundown of all the injuries I've had over the years.
that's what I was going to ask you to do. That's what I was going to ask you to do. Swear to God.
Because I got a slew of them.
All right, so let's hear it. What was your first one, and where did it happen, and why?
My very first true blue full on injury. I was in the ring. It was 2008. I was wrestling Kid Cash, and we had just locked up. Kid Cash, I'm gonna tell you right now, the dude, they nicknamed him the Pit Bull when he was tagging up with I'm trying to remember his tag partner in WWE. Anyhow, they named him the Pit Bull. Well, that name fit because dude the man might only been about 5'7", 5'8", but the guy was stiff.
Oh yeah, I've heard he's a stiff human being.
Me and he started pushing me back, and when he did, I went back and I caught my foot on the edge of the apron, and I rolled my ankle.
Oh fuck!
And
Early on.
I felt the pop. Now I went down. This is first lockup. He hit me 3 or 4 times, whatnot, just worked me in back, and I'm sitting there on the ground. I knew something was wrong, and I actually looked up at him, and I told the referee, Kenny at the time, and I told them both, I said, I messed up, something wrong with my ankle. And the biggest mistake you ever want to tell an opponent is I broke something, or I hurt myself, because Kid Cash grabbed my ankle, grabbed both the toe and the heel of my boot, and he gave a good hard twist, and I heard a pop, and he broke my fibula.
Oh, fuck.
And as bad as it hurt when he did that, I had tears streaming down my face. I was in some serious pain. I fought him for the next 8 minutes on the ground. Every time I hit the ground, I was trying to get back up. He'd be there, or his valet, Pandora, would be there, and she'd sucker punch me. And I thank the world of Pandora. I thank the world of her. She's married to, mind you, I got some brain damage here, some running names here.
We're going down to your list of injuries,
She's married to LT Falk now. They've been married for quite a while, got a kid, whatnot.
Yeah.
She's a great person. But every chance she got, she sucker punched me. And I walked out of that match with a broken ankle and a black eye.
God damn.
I had guys at my shoot job for months making fun of me because I got beat up by a girl, and I said, obviously you've never had to fight this woman because she would beat your ass.
That's the thing, man. People don't understand. Even the softest wrestler is tougher than, by far tougher than the average human being.
Pandora, go back to Pandora for a second. Pandora trained in England. And wrestling in England, it's catch as catch can. And those guys over there, you talking about William Regal and Fit Finley and the guys that are so freaking tough. They fight in their matches. I mean, they beat each other up.
Yeah, those are tough individuals.
So she brought that style back to the U.S. and she was a brute. I mean, the woman was wrestling while she was pregnant.
That's crazy.
Her water literally broke while she was in a match. I am not kidding.
Jesus.
But anyhow, to go back to our original story, we're talking about injuries. Broke that ankle. Actually broke my ankle. It was the weekend before my my third oldest kid, Abigail, was born. And I couldn't go to the doctor, couldn't go to the hospital for 2 weeks until after she was born because I caught hell. She said, my wife told me, you get hurt, you take care of it on your time. I had to go to work. But anyhow, that was my first big break. Not in anything particular, just bones. I've had my hand broke 3 times. Let's see. I've had the curvature of my neck reversed, pushed backwards. God, I'm losing count on that now. I had a match with a guy named Zodiac, and this was in 2017, maybe 2018. And we went out and beat the living snot out of each other. And when I finished that match, I had broken my nose. I'd had this guy, mind you, Zodiac's about 6'2", 6'3", 270 pounds.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
And he punt kicked me square in the nose, broke my nose. He threw me into a stack of wooden bleachers. I'd separated my shoulder. I'd turned my spine from my C3 down to my C8. I'd spun it 20 degrees. And I'm not too sure that I didn't possibly bruise some internal organs because I went for the next 3 days. I was having spasms so bad I couldn't stand up straight. I'd literally curl up in a ball and just literally felt like I was dying. I went to chiropractor, got my neck straightened out. He tried to straighten out my shoulder, thinking it was my shoulder was just a little out of whack, and he triggered a spasm right there in the office, and I literally cried like a baby. I almost quit wrestling from that. I was laid up for 4 months and trying to get that to heal back up. It's never fully healed. I can honestly say I'm left-handed. And that was my left shoulder got tore up. I can still not throw a softball half the distance that I used to.
I'm telling you, that's how shoulder injuries are, man. They will limit you so much. And, man, it's just a brutal thing because even if it heals up, it'll never heal up all the way. And all you got to do is lay on it wrong for you to remind yourself exactly what the fuck you did to hurt it and why you should never hurt it again. But, man.
But then get into my more serious issues. I can't count how many concussions I've had. I've never had a doctor look at them, but I know I have had at least 2 skull fractures because I have lost cranial fluid through my nose.
Jesus.
Literally through my nose. It was... I definitely had days questioning where my memory went, and then I started watching some of the hardcore matches I got myself into and realized there it went.
Yeah,
and there it went, and
that's where those brain cells slipped off to.
Oh yeah, they're still in there. They just they just ain't connected to nothing anymore.
They're just floating in the
It's just
brave
keeping the mass
fluids.
big enough it don't fall out my ears. So
Jesus, that's horrible. That shit has happened to wrestlers too. That's no joke. But yeah,
yeah.
okay. So right now you're the current New Focus Wrestling heavyweight champion.
Yes.
Did you actually win that championship at the last event that they had?
No. It was trying to remember what date it was. This COVID stuff, we'd had shows back and forth in between. I mean, we'd have a show thinking we were going to be set up and ready to go for the next show, and then we'd have a month or two in between. I actually I won the title from Josh Lewis, and how I beat him, I don't know, because the guy is like he's built like Lex Luger. I mean,
He's cut out of
big.
stone, buddy. Like, yeah.
He's solid.
Yeah, he really is,
But he hadn't wrestled in 6-8 months. I mean, he was out of ring shape. Came back in. We'd been doing, New Focus Wrestling had been doing TV tapings where we would bring local guys in, and we would work local guys just to keep TV time going. And Josh and a lot of the bigger names, they were stuck at home, couldn't come out there. They were trying to isolate. And I was in better shape cardiovascularly, and I was more prepared for it. And honest God truth, I think if we were both 100% healthy like it was now, I'd like to think I beat him, but it would be a whole lot tougher.
I mean, but it wasn't your first.
He picked me up and threw me around like a rag doll, but I still got him in the end.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it wasn't your first rodeo by any means. I mean, you've been in wrestling for years and years. You've wrestled some of the absolute greatest athletes in this business. And it wasn't, and this isn't your first heavyweight championship either, is it?
No, this would actually be my fourth one. This would be the third time I've held the title for New Focus Wrestling.
Okay.
I actually have a title that I'm currently champion of, but the company folded years ago, and I just kind of randomly joked that I am the longest reigning KWA heavyweight champion ever. Because I was wrestling down in Madisonville, Kentucky. A guy named Kenny Cotton was running the shows. And I'd beat T-Bolt Baxton and a guy named TNT. I'm not going to give TNT any more further name recognition because he was that horrible.
Oh, fuck. Brutal.
A matter of fact, I'm pretty sure he's not wrestling anymore because I don't think he ever really could to begin with.
Man, it seems like people like that get
weeded out. Not that he's a bad guy.
Know?
Not that he's a bad guy. It's just it was a horrible match. But anyhow, I got the title, and we were supposed to have another show the following month, and Kenny, for some reason, decided to push it off, and then next thing you know, he doesn't have a Kentucky promoter's license anymore, and he never did a show again. And this was, as of right now, I've been the KWA heavyweight champion for, I'm thinking somewhere close to 10, 11 years.
Longest. Eat your heart out, Goldberg.
That's right. I've yet to defend it, but I'm still the longest reigning KWA
I get to hold the strap and whatever. That's awesome.
We've actually talked about trying to find that title and try to bring it back and see if I can get somebody to take it off me. But
that'd be tremendous. What if you brought it back and just held it for another 15? And it's just like a 30-year lineage.
Well, I'm to the point I think I'm going to end up retiring with it because Kenny has no interest in running ever again. But
Well, I mean, you could do what WWF did with their Pat Patterson Intercontinental Championship, and just make up like dates where you wrestle people in like Uganda and shit. Just all
Well,
these,
it could. I mean,
build this fictional lineage and just
the
absolute
sad part about it
bullshit.
is right now, the Kentucky Boxing and Wrestling Coalition. It's a government agency that controls licensing for wrestling, boxing, just the sport in general. In order to get a license in Kentucky, if you've not had one in over 2 years, you have to go through the trouble of getting a physical and getting all this paperwork out of the way to verify you're in a good enough shape you can go and wrestle there.
Yeah, I mean it's a legit
Well,
commission.
I went and I got contacted not too long ago to do a show down here. Hopefully everything works out and I'm still able to make the show. But my problem is that when I went to get the physical done, I was coming off COVID. I got sick, got hit with it. I was coming off of it. I just got out of quarantine. Still wasn't feeling great, but I went and got the physical done. And the nurse that gave me the physical, she was doing another bunch of other stuff at the same time, and she didn't fill everything out. The way they asked to be it done. So I sent it off, and so far I'm still waiting to hear back. I'm hoping that it goes over okay. They let me go through it. I can still work, but Kentucky's weird. I mean, they gave Rob Conway a bunch of trouble here not too long ago, and Rob's winning. He's winning bodybuilding competitions, and dude's in fantastic.
Yeah, like
health. I mean, he's just one. Yeah.
Of all people, I'll be honest with you. If Rob Conway isn't in good health, then no one will be in good health to their standards. Like no one's wrestling in Kentucky. It's not happening. That's tremendous. Oh Lord. Every time I see Rob, it doesn't matter what locker room it's in, he's walking around with a gallon of orange juice. And I've never seen a human being drink a gallon of orange juice, just walking around casually drinking an entire gallon of orange juice.
The amount of carbs he takes in every day.
Oh, it's incredible. And like none of it sticks to him. He just builds muscle on top of muscle.
That's the thing. He wants it to stick, being how much he works out.
Yeah.
He's got his tenure in the WWE. All he has to do now is sit by the beach, sit by the pool, work out, keep himself tanned, and go do competitions and wrestle when he wants to. I mean, he's made his money.
Yeah, no doubt he has. He's the only guy.
He's a fantastic guy in all actuality, but.
Oh yeah, he's a great dude. Like he doesn't. He's the type of guy that literally has WrestleMania moments. Like he's been there, he's done that. He's been in the ring with everybody that matters. And the cool thing is that he takes time for dudes that don't matter. You know, young guys, and he'll just pull you aside and be like, "Hey, your lockup was horrible," or "Hey, you should tuck your shirt in before you go out," or "Hey, do this or that." I mean, he always has like good advice for the younger guys, and it's really cool to have a dude with such a lineage and prestige to himself that will pull you aside and be like, "Hey," and give a damn enough to do that, you know.
And I'll say it because I've talked to him about it before, but he's had offers to go back to WWE and he won't take them.
I'm sure he has.
He's had opportunities to go train the new guys coming in. He's had opportunities to show back up on TV, and he said he loves them. He loves the guys to death, but he's told me he said that there of his life's done. He's finished with it, and he enjoys having his free time, which I don't blame him a bit.
Yeah, that tour schedule's outrageous, and even though they're not touring now,
he's got a great life, and I'm tickled to death that he's made himself comfortable. I mean, he's a great dude.
He still does a lot with Al Snow's OVW now, doesn't he?
I'm not sure. Al doesn't actually own OVW anymore. He sold out. I don't know if he completely sold out or if he just sold part of it. but I know that he is not in full control of it anymore.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, I mean, you get
At least
the
that's what I've heard.
yeah, the tension of not being able to run events can hurt you. My company is licensed as a live event production company. So when you can't do live events, it's hard for you to make money and
Yeah.
generate income and sustain a business. And man, you have to have cutbacks, got to get rid of crew, start learning how to do shit yourself. it
Yeah, I
gets
understand.
it gets
I mean,
brutal.
it's affecting wrestling. It's any kind of business that requires a crowd is being affected. I mean, WWE. I was
Everything. Yeah.
watching boxing last night, and they're doing the same thing WWE is. They're putting either tapestries up that's got fake people painted on it, or they're putting LED screens up, and they're piping in sound bites of crowd to make it sound like there's people there.
Yeah, it's brutal.
It's very brutal. I mean, when we did the closed session shows for the TV tapings, it wasn't so bad for us because small venues, small crowd, we were kind of used to it. We had the boys sitting there watching the show, socially distancing, whatnot. But when you want to perform in front of a crowd, especially when you feed off what the crowd does.
That's the biggest thing,
watching,
yeah.
even watching boxers, their goal is to actually beat somebody up. Where wrestlers were storytellers. We try to set tones on our own, but we also have to feed off a crowd. Well, boxers do too. Boxers, I mean, football players, sports in general. The players do. They still feed off a crowd. If the crowd's not there, they don't have anybody to feed off of.
That's true.
Go back to just football alone. Seattle Seahawks. Most of their games are won because they have what they call the 12th man, which is the crowd. The crowd is so loud at Seattle when they're all there that the other team can't hear, and they're not capable of functioning with the sound.
That's tremendous. I've never heard that.
That's just one of the little sports facts. But I don't want to dog WWE because it's just they're trying to make do with the market they've got going on. But I watched WWE for the first time the other night. It was SmackDown, and I couldn't get into it. It's the first time I'd watched WWE in a couple of years. I quit watching WWE after my dad passed away years ago. I just couldn't get into it as much as I could because he passed away. It was a me and him thing. We got together and watched wrestling every Monday night.
Yeah. I can understand that.
That kind of took away the enjoyment out of it. Now, when the kids start watching it, then I'll get in there and I'll tell little tidbits, whatnot, tell them how this works, how that works, whatnot.
Yeah.
They're cool with it, but they're not into it nowhere near like I was when I was growing up. But watching WWE now, it's just the enthusiasm's not there because you don't have the crowd. You don't have the workers working the crowd, which was always a thing that the guys in WWE were taught not to do. They didn't teach them to work the crowd. They taught them to work the cameras.
Yeah.
Which was a problem that they're able to work through now because they never worked with the crowd to begin with. But working independent wrestling, you had to work the crowd because that's where your money come from.
Exactly. You relied on those T-shirts.
That's how you drew fans in. I mean, if you're an independent worker, you come into a show and you don't bring at least 3 to 5 people in, you don't even pay for your gas to show up.
Yeah, it's 100% a waste of time. It's like when I go to Indy to perform and I show up there and there's the promoters will have a bunch of guys opening. And I'm like, I shoot the shit with them, meet them, and everything's cool. And sometimes develop lifelong friends. But these kids will show up and they'll perform, 3 songs off of their phone. And, bruh, they have no merchandise, no T-shirts. They don't have a CD out. They don't have anything published. They're just literally up there doing it to do it. and they don't capitalize off of the business aspect of things. And man, a lot of times you don't see those kids come back because it wasn't profitable for them to even be there, and rinse and repeat. You got to make sure you cover your travel. You got to make sure you have something to offer people so that they remember you, or there's no reason to do it at all.
That's where that's where the promoter and all that come in. If you're not in wrestling, if you're not promoting the show that you're going to be on, if you're not promoting yourself and the show, and you're not drawing people in, the promoter's not going to bring you back.
100%, and they shouldn't.
And no, they shouldn't. I mean, I've seen guys that came in, worked their butt off, come out there, do flippity such, and just run their butt off, and had no rhyme or reason to it. Didn't work with the crowd, didn't work with merchandise, didn't do anything at all that actually promoted the show, and then they couldn't understand how come they didn't get called back. And I would get guys that would contact me. It's like, hey man, did I do something wrong? I'm like, you did everything wrong. It's not that you're a bad guy. It's not that you couldn't do good. It's because you didn't follow through with what you were taught when you were training.
Yeah. And it matters.
You have to promote the show. You have to work. You have to come in. You have to help set up. You have to come in and help tear down, especially if you're a young guy. You got to pay your dues. And then you got to go out there and you got to work the crowd. If you're a bad guy, be a bad guy. If you're a good guy, you got to be a good guy. You got to go out there and shake hands, kiss babies, stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you're a bad guy, don't go out there and hang out with a good guy during the show. Don't go out there and shake hands with everybody. Go out there and be a bad guy.
Agreed. Yeah.
I've got guys. I've went out and worked shows, and I've even had the promoter pissed at me because I've carried on and roused up and ticked everybody off, and then I went out there and I've had guys. I've actually put the good thing. Here's something I can say. AJ Riley. I'm gonna bring AJ Riley's name into it, even though I probably shouldn't. AJ Riley, we're doing a show up in Vincennes. AJ has not really much of a clue on how to get over. And it's not that he's a bad guy, it's just he don't have a clue what he's doing. Or he gets too excited and then he starts going into business for himself and he has no clue what he's doing to get over. I took him up in Vincennes and I told him, I will get you over in 5 minutes and you don't have to throw a punch. And he looked at me like I was just plumb out of my mind. I was like, I promise you, I will prove to you I can get you over and you never throw a punch. The next time you walk in, everybody's going to love you. He thought I was nuts. And that match started. Johnny Richards was out there. His wife now, Kayla, was out there. They were out there cutting a promo, and they were on the verge of announcing the match. I went out there. I hit the ropes. I hit Kayla, knocked her off the ring apron, knocked her hard on the floor. Told her I was going to do it, though. I mean, told her she was protected. I kicked the crap out of John. AJ come out there, and I beat AJ up, and I beat him all over the ring. I beat him all outside. I beat him with everything I could. I had a couple fans out in the crowd. I actually smacked a fan. I got accused that night of kicking a pregnant woman, which she'd been pregnant for 9 years, according to what I was told.
It wasn't yours, was it?
No, it was not mine. I never would have claimed going to that rat. Anyhow, I beat him all over the place, got him in the ring, and he let him hit me with one move, and that was it.
Oh, well, sometimes that's all you need. You ain't got to do a whole bunch of stupid shit.
One move, and I still ended up screwing him over for the win. That next show I came out there and I did the same thing to John and Kayla again. He came out there and the place was standing on end for him.
Because they knew it was up. Because you had set him up in that, yeah.
It was my last show there, but I wanted to get him over, give him a reason to get over, and give him a reason. I said, you have something to step on now to keep yourself as a babyface. Stay that way. He blew it, but I gave him the opportunity.
I feel you.
But it's a matter of learning how to work. that's 90% of wrestling is knowing how to work and knowing how to work the crowd.
Yeah. Do you know when?
You don't have to go out there and be a superhero. You don't have to go out there and be a badass. You just have to know how to be a crack. Gary Valiant goes out there. Boogie Woogie Boy Gary Valiant goes out there, plays music, dances, pretends to kiss the girls, whatnot, gets in the ring, does a bunch of silly, goofy stuff. He may get beat, he may get one, but they're going to love him in the end.
That's true. He's dude. He's over like.
He's
If
over
there's
everywhere he goes.
if there's ever been a unconditionally over wrestler, it is that man.
They love him, and truthfully, he's a ball to talk to.
No, but I mean, whatever. Some of the guys are absolutely, genuinely great human beings to be around, and
Oh, yeah.
you know, I mean, part of, I'd say it's 50-50. Hanging out in the locker room is just as enjoyable as actually being in the ring, and you actually get to be in the locker room for a lot longer of a period. So man, you're able to go around and say hi to everybody, and when you're a dude like me that says hi to everybody, it takes a while. But man, it's great to be able to just have 5 hours set aside in my life where I could just catch up with all of my people who literally live all over the place, you know, different parts of the country.
The thing is, you don't see these guys hardly at all. So when you do see them, you appreciate the time you have with them.
Yeah, especially now, because now it's like events will be booked and then they'll get canceled, and it's just ridiculous how much gets.
And it's bothersome too, because I'm going to be 44 in 3 weeks. My birthday's February 19th. I'll be 44, and I've got guys that were coming in that were big and were influential to me coming in, and these guys are talking about retirement. They're talking about being done. I mean, we're starting to lose guys again. We lost Tracy Smothers here not too long ago.
Yeah, that was super depressing.
That broke my heart to lose Tracy.
Man, I'll be honest with you.
All the cancer and all the stuff he fought, he was coming out of it, and he was starting to get better, and it come back again, and it just it killed me to lose Tracy. It did. And the way the coronavirus and all that stuff's going on, we couldn't get together as a family, as a brotherhood, and say our goodbyes like we wanted to. We couldn't. In honor of him, and those didn't get to happen.
Yeah.
It was heartbreaking.
You know what's crazy too? I was literally just thinking of that yesterday. I was like, man, there were all these. I don't know why I was washing dishes and thought about it, but I was like, man, there are all of these events that were booked for Tracy to help take care of this and that or whatever. And even, you know, before he passed, there were a bunch of them set up to help with things, and they just got one by one got canceled, and then, you know, I don't know, it was like the week before you guys were set up to do one for him that he passed away, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm off on that timeline. Maybe it happened. I can't remember.
I know we had a show scheduled. We had a show scheduled in October, and the mayor of Evansville put restrictions down, and we had to cancel the show.
Yeah, because it was just impossible to operate on such little ass restrictions.
There was just no way that we could have drawn and been beneficial to anybody at all.
Yeah.
And little did we know that Tracy was going to die that following weekend.
Yeah, that fucked us up, man. That was so sad.
That screwed a lot of people up.
Yeah.
And I hold the mayor responsible for not being able to say goodbye to Tracy, or seeing Tracy one last time, giving the man the hug. And
yeah, absolutely. Like, it's...
Yeah, I want to clear this off my chest. A lot of people, because of the way that Tracy portrayed his gimmick over the years, Tracy was a true blue master of his craft. Tracy went out there, he had the Rebel Flag shirt, he wore the bibs or whatnot, he come across as a redneck, whatnot, and everybody wanted to call him the racist and call him this, call him that. Tracy worked the gimmick because the gimmick made him money.
Yeah, 100%.
And Tracy made a lot of good money about it, but Tracy was not a bad guy.
Nah, he was not.
Tracy
not even a
was
little
not
bit.
Racist. Tracy would give the shirt off his back to anybody that needed it, because that's what Tracy was there to do. Tracy would teach or train anybody he can. The stuff that came out of Tony Atlas's mouth on another shoot interview was just wrong.
Yeah, that was shitty
And
of him.
Tony took that. Tony took word from a secondhand account from somebody that Tracy had feuded with over the years. I'm not getting into that because I could tell the whole story because I was there for about a third to half of it. So I know in a gist what happened, but I'm not getting into it. But it was Tony Atlas got word by secondhand account that Tracy was this, and this, and it was just wrong because Tracy was attacked and assaulted every time, all the time that Tracy was fighting cancer. He would get phone calls in the middle of the night, or he would get texts in the middle of the night, or he would get stuff from Facebook in the middle of the night attacking him, calling him a racist, hoping he'd die, stuff like that. And it was so wrong to do that to a human being.
And not to mention the situation.
Yeah. Fought that hard, had been fighting that hard to live, wanted to live. He had so much more he could have gave to this world, and he wanted to do better. He told me. He goes, I hate this. He goes, I hate being called this. He goes, it's not who I am. I don't hate anybody. I don't go after anybody over color or their religion, anything like that. He goes, I love everybody.
Yeah.
But people still attacked him, and that to me it killed me, because I've had it done to me several times because people didn't agree with my opinion one way or the other, and I'm not getting into politics because politics just sucks.
Yeah, it just gets too goddamn deep.
It's way too dividing today.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I wanted to get that off my chest because Tracy was not a bad person. Tracy loved everybody. He would help anybody that needed help. That's just who Tracy was.
Yeah, I love Tracy. I thought he was a genuinely great human being. I loved taking car trips with him to and from events. And he was just a great guy. Great to talk to. Believed in Jesus, believed in God. I loved talking biblical shit with him. He just had a really Old Testament feel to him, and I liked him. I really did. And I remember the day that he died. I read it on my phone and told my wife, and it destroyed me. I broke down, cried for probably an hour straight, and she held me, and dude, I just shook. Like, I couldn't help it, because I literally told him on the car ride that when he's gone, he's going to be one of the last that are left. And it's really awesome that he put so much time into younger guys and would even bother to wrestle for so long that he did, because he knew that he had to get this next generation of people ready. And I hope that he feels like he did,
He passed along a lot to so many people.
He really did.
Guy. No, and I don't think he got near as much credit as he should have got.
Nah, he really did.
I know that he himself was against being put in it. But if anybody at all deserved a spot in the WWE Hall of Fame, it should be Tracy.
I mean, a lot of their guys got there because of him.
Oh, every single one of them guys that's there right now.
Yeah. All of the young boys, no doubt. Every one of them, and it's just it's crazy. I mean, he spent a lot of time with those dudes, breaking them in and working them in matches. And I mean, even in ECW, he was far beyond what a lot of those guys were. I mean, because he had wrestled for years and worked in WCW, and was a mainstay attraction there for years. So it's just a crazy thing to see somebody that was absolutely so strong and so dedicated to a business get just attacked at the end of his life the way that he did. Just for a gimmick that literally people loved.
They either loved it or they hated it.
For years.
But they still loved, they loved to hate him.
Yeah, 100%.
They loved to hate the gimmick.
Yeah, they did. He was super over at the JCW shows when he worked for the Clowns. Man, oh my God, they fit in right with that chicken hunting bullshit. So he would go out there, yell at them.
The truth of the matter was he always told me, he goes, I hated doing them shows because I always got hurt because somebody was always throwing something at me, but man, I made good money.
Oh yeah, but dude, yeah, they literally half of his match would be going out there with the gaga of working the crowd, and man, he would get those motherfuckers ready to kill him. Like, dude, they were ready to kill him, and he was just so over like that, and just so smart with how he would dance along with their insults, and he would just use their insecurities against them. He was just a really smart human being, a great guy, and it is sad that he got attacked so bad at the end of his life. But the people that loved him love him unconditionally, and fuck everybody else anyways.
Yeah.
100%. So, Scotty Wolf, you're the NFW World Champion. Do you have any idea when a new Focus Wrestling event may take place?
Well, I was actually talking to the promoter about that today because I honestly got the truth, I didn't know what to say. The situation we're sitting at right now, we've still got restrictions. Our counties are still supposed to be marked in the red. But as it's standing right now, we're not doing anything at all until we get the mayor to drop the restrictions. So, could it be March? Could it be May? Could it be October? Or will we not run at all this year? I don't know. My hope is that by March, that back out of the red, restrictions are dropped, and we can get together and run some kind of limited show. I know that there's other shows that are starting to fire back up again. One of the shows that I'm hoping to get on track with is the New Age. Let me see if I can remember the name. Like I said, brain injuries. New Age Wrestling Entertainment out of Kentucky. They have a show March 13th in Eddyville, Kentucky. If my Kentucky wrestling stuff gets all straightened out, I may be on that show. I don't know yet. But right now, that is the only thing I'm really looking at. I know New Focus Wrestling. We're still doing our TV show on YouTube. The fans want to look at New Focus Wrestling. I think we're 70 episodes in. We have it gets the TV show that's on YouTube is aired on Local 44-2, if I remember correctly. On
You're correct.
TV.
Yep.
It comes on at 2:00 in the morning, Sunday morning, Saturday night, however you want to put it. The shows, we do all right with them.
I think they're fantastic.
We're starting to run out of content because COVID has got us locked down, but we still have a few weeks left. Excuse me. I don't know if we're going to start going back to pulling out classic matches.
There's a laundry list of
stuff.
that.
We've got several years worth of matches. It's just a matter of what we still have that's we could put on TV and actually be visible, because some of the content I pulled out to turn in, trying to turn it over to something close to a higher definition, it looks like pixels fighting. So.
Well, that is the problem with it, is that with what high definition television is now, it's outrageous the difference that just a couple of years will make, in production quality.
I had a show that I turned over to see if they could put it on air. It was from 2009, and I wish that it was in high definition, because the matches I had, the show I actually booked, it was my first show promoting, and I think I had 7 matches, and every single match I had, every damn one of them were quality matches.
Nice.
And the last match was a main event. It was me versus Big Bully in a dog collar match, and we beat each other so badly that we actually broke the chain. We snapped the chain because we beat each other that bad with it. Broken chairs and the whole 9 yards. It was a stellar match for what we could put off, but going back and looking at it, it looks like a home video, and it looks a very cheesy home video because you can't see much of it anymore.
That's brutal, man.
It's sad too because it was the whole show. The whole show was just phenomenal.
Well, look, sometimes, events like that are just there for the memories and the lessons that you take away from them as an individual. We all have that event or a couple of them where the camera angles off or shit just sounded so bad that you're like, man, I can't put this on anything instantly. People can't fucking hear it.
Honestly, I'm one of these guys that when I watch a match back that I'm in, I tear it to pieces, and I think, oh God, I hope like hell they don't air that nowhere. Because I think sometimes when matches are that bad, and I have guys swear up and down how great it was. I've had Tracy Smothers before he passed away talk about how great the match was, and I watch it back, and I'm like, I don't see where they see the greatness in it, but okay.
Look, you're too hard on yourself is really what it boils down to. And I mean, I think that's one of the really great qualities about you is because you're a brutally honest human being, even to yourself. But your standards are way, way higher than what they should be, because you've just really been a quality just wrestler, a workhorse in this business for as long as I can remember. And I really feel blessed knowing you, having a connection with God that you also share is a beautiful thing because that's few and far between in this world now. And just, the type of wrestling that you like is the stuff that I literally stayed up late at night to watch, because they couldn't air it at a normal time slot, and I don't know. I just really have always liked your dedication to the business. You're always one of the first guys at any event. You're helping carry shit in, no matter what level on the card that you are. And you've always been very generous with what you've allowed to have happen in a lot of regards. So, I mean, I personally think that you're an outstanding human being and worker. And I think you're too hard on yourself in a lot of regards.
Yeah. I appreciate it, but in order to be great at your craft, you always got to see the imperfections. You always got to work on it.
I mean, and I can understand that and appreciate that too. Nobody is perfect, and it takes time, and it's just great that literally it's now 10 years later since no, longer than that. I've known you almost 12 years, and literally you are still the same tough, hard-headed son of a bitch you've always been. And, man, you just do not stop. You just continue to go. And I personally feel like if Corona wouldn't have happened, you would have just had a phenomenal year in the business. Like, everything's blowing up, and there's so many companies out there doing stuff, and the internet is what it is now. That the second that this COVID shit lifts up, man, people are just going to flock from the house to go to events and go back to normal life. And it's going to be great and prosperous for all of us. But definitely, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do at NFW because it's a brotherhood. It's a great company. And it's definitely an underdog company. But you guys do a lot of great things with what you have. The resources that you have available to you. And definitely, the second you guys start running events again, let me know. Shoot me a message. I'm going to come out. Maybe we'll do a broadcast from there or something. That would be super cool. Maybe I'll interview some of you guys as stuff happens. That would be dope as well. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Scotty Wolf, do you want to drop any of your fan pages or where people can follow you at?
Right now, The only page I got right now is my home Facebook page. It's just Scott Brinson on Facebook. Brinson. You may never know what you find on there. I get blocked every now and then.
I'll be honest with you too. I kind of have a beef with you because I think Brinson is a badass last name, and I don't understand why you weren't just Scotty Brinson. Because that just sounds like a super tough ass. It's almost like Pliskin. It's kind of like that kind of Death Wish feel to it. I don't know why. I always thought that.
The reason why is it's always been wrestlers come in. They always change your name ever so slightly, do something different. At the time when I came to the Coliseum, I was looking for just a different name.
Yeah.
Originally, I walked in. They had a guy come in to an interview. He was doing, I don't know if it was a dirt sheet or if it was a TV or newspaper ad or whatnot, but he was doing his story and he was asking questions. He just finally just asked me, he goes, what's your ring name? At the time, I didn't even have one yet. And I just kind of looked over, and I sit there and I remember back when I was married my first time around, one of my stepkids used to call me a werewolf because at the time I had just big-ass mutton chop sideburns, and my beard was starting to grow out, and the kids always called me a werewolf. So I just said, well, okay, well, I'm Scotty Wolf.
Oh, that's tremendous.
And that's how it stuck. And originally I just said Scott Wolf, and then T-Bolt Baxton's always started calling me Scotty. So I went from Scott Brinson to Scott Wolf to Scotty Wolf, and now T-Bolt, if you ever listen to him carry on, he always calls me Eugene because I act kind of like Eugene from Nick Dinsmore fame.
Jesus.
You got truth, if it had not been for Nick Dinsmore doing it, I could have done it better.
Oh, I'll be honest with you. You could 100% you could have done that, and it would have been money. And I don't know this.
Correct anymore, but back in.
Oh, buddy, I really on an independent level. How much does that really? I mean, I guess it still matters, but I don't know. I bet you would have had a great time with it. Like you've always had like this off the wall personality when it comes down to like ideas and coming up with just really outlandish shit that just works out really good.
Like your Captain Chaos bit.
Oh, bro, I almost brought that up. We're gonna talk about that for the second episode because this one went so good. We got to do another one. We'll definitely do one for season 3. But we will definitely we will talk about that shit, that Cannonball Run, because dude, when we were watching that movie, on God, my brother looked at me because I was like, man, Scotty had this idea. We're going to watch this movie and like I'm going to get a better idea of what he had for this character. And I'm like, Cannonball Run, this movie's got to be dope. He's got to be talking about a character that is just so off the chain tough for me. And then no, it was like the dopey dude that like it freaks out and has like this thing. And then everybody was like, man, Scotty is fucking ribbing you, bro. I'm like, nah, man, he's not. Like, this is going to get over. This is going to be tight. And it didn't get over. But it was tight, and it was a learning experience, and it's something that I got in my back pocket.
The funny part about that, I'll go ahead and I'll that match, and you did that, Flash Flanagan looked at me and goes, what in the fuck is he doing? I said, I put him up to it. And he goes, you need to be punched.
Flash is so funny, dude, because anytime Tommy is around, he ribs me so bad because he knows I'm so fucking gullible because I'm so scared to upset anybody. And like we used a kendo stick to do something, and Tommy was like, bro, Flash did not like that shit. And dude, I wrote out this long ass apology to Flash, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I mean, I'm sure everything will be okay. Like talk to me at the show, we'll be all right. And then, dude, we sat and talked for a half an hour. You know what I'm saying? Trying to clear it up at the event, right? And the whole time I'm looking over at Tommy, and he's just like, man, make sure that you fix this and all this shit. And dude, looking back on it, I bet he was laughing his fucking ass off in the corner at me. But dude, he did that type of shit to me. He always thought it was so fun. And looking back on it, it's hilarious. It really is. But dude, it literally took me like 8-9 months sometimes to figure out that he was fucking raping me to begin with. Sometimes years, you know, and I mean, it's just how he is. But look, Flash is a great human being, and he's been there and done that in the business. So like, to have him look at you and be like, what the fuck is he doing, is hilarious, and it's all right. But man, we were trying, man. We were trying to do things to make it work. Oh shit. But look, Scotty, man, we definitely have to do this again, man. I gotta have you back on the show. It was a great time, and like you said, we were gonna do a half hour, and we did an hour and 10 minutes, because that's just who we are. But dude, it's always,
trust me, I got enough content that we could probably go at least 3 if we really wanted to try.
I'll be honest with you. I'm one of those guys that's looking to build his own network with this stuff and figure out how to do the podcasting networking and whatnot. And if I figure that out, I personally think that you need to do your own podcast. Because, dude, Scotty Wolf has some stories, and it would be great to dig into your brain and break down, like, different events and what you did here and there. And
let's just say if you really wanted to, if it got out that people were going to pick my brain on everything I knew and what I was going to let out, there'd be a guy standing behind me right now with a silencer on something getting ready to put me to sleep. Cause
hey, you know what? Every one of us has the potential of that.
Folks, they don't want to get that.
Well, look, you can definitely use your discretion involved with it, as I do. But definitely, man, thank you for being on the show, Scotty Wolf. It was great having you. NFW World Champion. Definitely follow him on Facebook, like his page. You can find it under Scotty Wolf. My favorite wrestler, definitely a great human being and a funny dude to be around. The second NFW...
Don't forget to get on YouTube and check out New Focus Wrestling.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that is their channel name, New Focus Wrestling.
Man, the more views we get, the better it gets for us. So
no doubt. Subscribe, too. Subscribe and share it to like-minded people. That shit matters.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
All right. Well, thank you, Scotty Wolf. We appreciate you, man. I'll give you a call in the next couple days and let you know how everything works out.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
All right, my brother. Please be safe.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, man. Another great episode on Lock, man. Season 2 has been phenomenal. Great. Definitely. Do me a solid and go to Twitter and find me there and follow me. It's at The Real King Kold. You can find me at The Real King Kold on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook under my real name, Richard Westbrook. King Kold in the little brackets, you know, and you can also like my page on Facebook as well. I would appreciate that. You can follow my all of my podcasts at the Power Requires Hustle YouTube page. And that channel for that matter. And you can also find all of my music available on Spotify. And you can follow that for updates every time I release a new album. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you.
Twist it, hit it, smoke it till we're stupid, twist it, hit it, smoke it till we're stupid, twist it, hit it, smoke it till we're stupid, twist it, hit it, smoke it till we're stupid,
You are now listening to a Power Requires Hustle production.